Hello, this is John McAllister, and usually you see videos of football related coaches or players or anything with recruiting. And today I'm stepping away a little bit and going back to Upper Sandusky, my hometown. And today my interview is with Kathryn McCarthy Collins, who is running for the Wyandot County Common Pleas Court Judge. And I've known Kathy since she was in high school. In fact, I live near her homestead right now. And Kathy has been a lawyer, I think, and judge for 24 years. She's 50. She's been doing it for 26 years, excuse me. I'm excited to talk to her because this is something new for me and different kinds of questions and things like that. And I'll be honest with you, it's fun. And Kathy does a great job, will do a great job in presentation. So if you would sit back and listen to my video podcast with Kathryn McCarthy Collins, who's running for the Wyandot County Common Pleas Court Judge. Okay, my guest today, as I said earlier, is Kathryn McCarthy Collins, and she is running for the Wyandot County Common Pleas Court. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I'm fine. How are you?
I'm good. I'll just call you Kathy because that's all I remember, okay?
That's fine.
Kathy's okay? Good.
Yes.
Before we get started, Kathy, I looked it up because I didn't know exactly what a Wyandot County Common Pleas Court judge did.
Okay.
Here's what the courts, and then you can add to this. The General Jurisdiction Trial Court in Ohio. A common pleas court has legal authority over adult felony criminal cases, bigger civil cases, and all other cases not handled by another more specialized court. Then I read where it says real estate problems, personal injury, breach of contract, marital conflicts, probing of estates, guardian of minors, and business relationships.
Right.
That cover it?
That covers it.
Okay, you tell me then, how do you define for the normal Wyandot County Common Pleas Court? How would you define it in your own words?
Okay. Well, in Wyandot County, we basically have two different courts. We have the Upper Sandusky Municipal Court, and that handles smaller civil cases, evictions, money collection issues. And then there's also the criminal side of it there, misdemeanors, traffic cases, all adults. The Common Pleas Court is made up of 4 divisions: juvenile, probate, domestic relations, and then the general division, which is civil and criminal.
Okay.
We have 1 judge and 1 magistrate, and we cover all 4 divisions.
This is kind of, I don't really socialize very much. So I saw you were running for judge and your opponent was running. I said, why are those guys running for judge? And Mrs. Aubrey is retiring, right?
Right. Yes. She's done at the end of this year.
Okay. So I learned that too. So I would talk, you're right now, I know you've been in Cary. Well, first of all, you started as a lawyer and then you're in Cary as a solicitor, I think. And then you're the Wyandot County magistrate. What is that title?
The magistrate, it's like a judge. I preside over cases, domestic relations, civil cases, probate, juvenile. I've done a little bit of criminal work for Judge Aubrey, but she likes to keep a lot of that for herself.
Right.
And I issue decisions. They're reviewed by her, and she can either approve it, make some changes, or send it back for try again.
Okay. Well, that's really good. And it's putting this in what I know probably better in coaching terms. You're like the top assistant or the associate head coach in a sense, right?
Right.
You've gained a wealth of experience
Yes.
in this whole process. I mean, you're doing a lot of the work, and that's great. Okay. Let's go back to, you're a lawyer. Why choose law school? I thought weren't you going to be a teacher at one time?
I wasn't quite sure what I wanted to do. I went through several different majors, but I really liked psychology, and so then I had to figure out what I would do with a psychology degree. And law school was always in the back of my mind. Not sure that I wanted to continue my education, but then by the time I got into my last year at Ohio State, I knew I wanted to go to law school. So I applied and got in. And
that's really neat. I had friends when I was younger, obviously, and they were in law school. They said they would sit at like a table in the cafeteria or a coffee shop and discuss cases.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like crazy. Those guys really wanted to be lawyers, I guess I would say.
Yeah. Well, that's your life too when you're in law school. You don't really have a part-time job. You go to school during the day, you study at night, and that's pretty much 3 years of nonstop.
So you finished at Ohio State then?
I graduated undergrad from Ohio State, and then I went to Ohio Northern for law school.
Okay, that's a good law school as well. I mean, and that's, of course, Ohio State's a good education as well. It's really good. I don't have to apologize. Here's the two things I know about you. Okay.
Okay.
Here's the two things. One, I saw you run at the state track meet. And when I was I'd love to coach you in track, by the way. But, when we took kids to the state, unless you are a thoroughbred, you can't run 4 events or 3 of them. You gotta choose maybe 1 or 2. Two usually, because you warm up with 1. But anyway, I saw you there, and I saw you on the backstretch hit the wall. Because on the backstretch, I remember it.
Right about.
That's a long time ago. See, I have a great memory when it comes to sports.
Yeah.
Okay. The other thing is, all I know about you is the stories that my very good friend the late Ronnie Myers, used to tell me. So he told me stories. He loved you dearly, by the way.
Yeah, as I did him.
I think he was your pet, by the way. You were his pet, I mean, probably vice versa. But I know that he thought the world of you. So that's how I know about you a lot. Okay. Let's jump to the family, because you live down the road from me, because I live in Ronnie Myers' house. You used to live there. Tell me about the kids. You can go in order, I think, age-wise.
Okay. My oldest is Maya. She's a senior at the University of Cincinnati. She's also studying psychology, and she hopes to go to grad school next fall at Cincinnati to be a school psychologist.
Wow. Those are needed big time, by the way.
Yeah. And she's been working in different areas, doing some internships, and her summer jobs have been all kind of related to kids with special needs. And she really enjoys that and hopes to work
in the Cincinnati area.
Yeah. She really likes Cincinnati area also.
That's real. I mean, good education, good experience, because there's a whole lot that goes on.
Yeah, and there's a need for people in that field too. And
there's a need.
She has the personality for it. She's very down to earth and open-hearted. She'll do anything for anyone. So good. She would make a good one.
Good. Who's the Ethan?
Ethan's next. Yeah, he's a plebe, or his first year at West Point, and he just yesterday at the football game, he was the mascot for his company, the Buffaloes. So he had a buffalo suit on, and he had fun at the football game.
Yeah, that's amazing. I would tell you this, and I don't know him very well,
Mhm.
but I will tell you this. One of my players, football players, years ago, we talked about West Point a lot, and he ended up going there. He was really smart, really tough, and he played. I think he played club football, and then we were playing golf. His first year out, we were playing golf together, and we were walking up one of the, I think 5 over in Fostoria. And I said, well, Doug, I said, I can't use everything on here, the words, but I said, you still upset at the old coach for getting you to West Point? And he walked straight ahead and went, no, not anymore. So it's so tough.
Yeah,
it's so
it
tough.
is.
And I'm so excited about that because it's a great experience. Now your daughter,
he first became interested in the 6th grade. He went out there for a STEM camp, and he just fell in love after the first day, and never looked back. Never really, found an interest in any other colleges, and he had his mind made up.
That's great. That's the best for him.
Yeah.
Okay. There you go.
Youngest.
Now, how about youngest?
Youngest, Madeline. She's a freshman at Upper Sandusky High School. She's just wrapping up her cross-country season. They had the league meet yesterday, and she did pretty well. She got honorable mention. And she'll do swim team in the winter and then track in the spring.
Okay. Now you said, what grade is she in? I missed it.
She's in the 9th grade.
Oh my! And she got honorable mention. She received honorable mention at the
for cross country. Yeah.
That's really good.
Yeah.
She must love to run then.
She does. Yeah. She's not crazy about the longer distance, but she really does like to run.
Because like the cross country, now I'm saying this in jest, but the cross country kids, a lot of those guys they're out there. I mean, how many guys run that far? So they think out of the box a lot and stuff. The ones I coached track for years, those distance guys, I kind of stayed away from them because different. Well,
I was more of a middle distance runner, and then sprint. Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
I remember, and you could have been probably a 800-meter runner. I think 4 and the 8.
I probably should have done that, but I liked the 100 and 200 better.
Yeah. So that's a couple of years ago, I think.
A few. Okay?
Well, let's, I never taught when I taught for 3 months in Upper Sandusky, but I never taught or coached in my hometown. And I think my philosophy was always a man gaineth no honor in his hometown.
Right.
And even Jesus didn't for everybody. Yeah. But what I'm going to hit you with is, why come back to Upper Sandusky? Why devote all your time and your whole career to Upper Sandusky, Wyandot County? Why would you do that?
I actually didn't plan on coming back to Upper Sandusky, and I never thought that I would. Just living in Columbus, I thought I wanted to be in a larger city, and went to law school in Ada, small town.
Right.
That's how I ended up staying in the area, and just I'm really happy that I'm here. I can't imagine living anywhere else. It's so easy with the kids running around, school events, doctor's appointments. Everything's just so close and convenient, and it's a great place to live.
Do you find that it's harder, or for you as a lawyer now, hopefully a judge, is that harder for you being from here because the people you went to school with and things like that?
No, I don't think so. I mean, there's really only a few awkward times when somebody gets a speeding ticket and I had to prosecute them, but for the most part there's no conflicts. No.
Okay, what I ask you, why lawyer now? Why judge? Why a judge?
Well, it's something I've always wanted to do since I started in law. I clerked for Judge Hunter my first summer after law school.
Judge Hunter, how old are you? I thought you were a young person.
Yeah,
No, I'm
I'll be
sorry.
50 in December. So
Okay.
yeah,
50.
I've been an attorney for 24 years.
Really? That's
Yeah.
really good.
Yeah.
50. Okay.
Mhm.
I got to remember that. I got to start calling you Kathryn, I think. I can't call you Kathy anymore. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Why judge? Tell me why judge.
I think it was that first summer when I just followed him around. He would give me some research to do, but I sat in on a lot of his hearings, and I was just so impressed with what he was able to do as a judge and his interactions with both sides, but especially the juveniles. He really cared about the kids and wanted them to have a better situation. And it really hit me in the heart. And that was going to be my end goal. And I knew what I had to do to work there to get to that point. And I think that's why I chose the different career in law, the different routes that I took, being
Right.
private practice, part-time prosecutor, so I could keep my foot in the door, doing some private practice work for people, being the solicitor for Carrie for a couple of years, just trying to be a well-rounded attorney so that if I ever became judge, I would have a lot of experience to bring to the table.
That's really super. It's really good. Again, go back to the analogy of coaching. You knew what you wanted to do early in life. Like I knew what I wanted to do early in life in the 7th grade to 8th grade to be a teacher and a coach. And then you worked to that head coaching job, which I was lucky to get a few and things. That's so you prep yourself along the way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You keep building for that. That's
right.
Really good. Okay. Yeah. If I said fair but tough, what does fair but tough mean to you?
Well, fair, I mean, that's implied. You have to.
Excuse me. Judge Hunter, obviously remember him. I think I was in high school, but he was that way. I mean, he was Judge Hunter, and he grew up in Upper Sandusky.
Mm-hmm.
And he built himself up, but he was fair with people.
Yeah.
And he'd always look at you because he was short, and he'd always look up at you and say something sarcastic. But he was fair, I think, tough but fair. What's your definition of tough but fair?
Well, everybody deserves to be treated fairly, not necessarily equally, because everybody's situation is different, and you take each person, each case on their own, and then deal with it appropriately. But to be tough, along with that, you got to stand your ground, and you can't be afraid to upset people and apply the law to each individual case.
That's true. And then you just said apply the law. You really have to know the law, don't you?
You do. Yeah.
I'm not trying to be funny, but you really have to know it because there are so many loopholes. There's so many
right. And you
angles.
can't be afraid to take a step back if you don't know something and go look it up and make sure that you're on the right track. Yeah.
For sure. Okay. Great interview. Okay. Tell me some positives about Upper Sandusky right now. Are there any things that you think that when you get the job, that you'll keep going, you're not going to change everything? Because I think sometimes the worst thing we can do is change a lot of things. If it's not broken, don't try to fix it. You know what
exactly. And that's like the cornerstone of the law is consistency, and you have to keep things going as they have been. And Judge Hunter, he was on the bench for at least 25 years. Judge Aubrey will have 24 years in. So that's, almost 50 years of the two judges. And she worked for him. She was his magistrate. So there's a lot of similarities that have carried over. The only really changes that I would make is we need to improve our technology. And Judge Aubrey has been doing that. A lot of attorneys wish that they could access the internet while they're in the courtroom so that they can do research or prepare their paperwork. And that would help a lot with efficiency. And
you know, I agree with you. Well, talk about technology. Here we're doing this.
uh-huh.
You know, I've had a little bit of help on this, but this is amazing to me what we're doing right now.
Yeah.
So the last thing I would say on that is technology. And I think so often in a small town, you know, you kind of fight that. You kind of, we're not changing that. We can't change that. But you're going to have to sometime.
Right.
You know, you're going to have, so you might as well try to be as progressive as you can be, I think.
Yeah. And that is a big thing, especially with smartphones. And, you know, people are on their phone a lot, but there's so much that you can do with it. And that's how some of the attorneys are getting their research done on the spot, is they just get into their phone and look something up. So if we make it so that they can have Wi-Fi access, then that would help a lot, so they can have their laptops and do their research right on the spot. I would also restructure how the magistrate and the judge, which cases the magistrate would take and which case the judge takes, because when you have domestic relations cases and the magistrate primarily hears those, the parties can object if they don't like the decision that the magistrate made. And then it goes to Judge Aubrey for review. And it's an extra step in the process.
Right.
So if I'm judge, I would take some of those domestic relations cases to eliminate that objection option,
Right.
which saves clients a lot of money. And then if they don't like the judge's decision, then they go up to the Court of Appeals.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
That's good. Okay. Well, I really appreciate you being on here. I would say one more thing, and I'm thinking now, I'm brainstorming a little bit. I think one of the nicest things Upper Sandusky has done is close the courthouse, where you have to walk through there and go through the detection.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That was
that with high schools, by the way. In fact, I've got the scanner going up and down me in Cleveland sometimes. I mean, but I think it's so important, because I don't think we realize just, I don't know what words to use, what kind of clientele go through there,
right.
What kind of people go through there. And now with the drug situation, you know, I'm sure you're getting people from all over, lawyers and stuff. And so I think it's huge that we do that. Well,
the cases that I found are the most contentious are the civil protection orders. And that's where we sometimes have to have security sit in the courtroom with us, because they're so angry at each other, or there's domestic violence,
right?
Just harassment. And so, yeah.
Step ahead. Kathryn McCarthy Collins, thank you very much for this time.
Thank you. Thank you, John.
I wish you the very best of luck.
Thank you.